How's it going, everybody? So a few people asked me to do this, so I figured I would go ahead and do a quick PlayStation 5 Pro little review, and this is more of a one along the lines of a review for people that are maybe Xbox owners, and maybe Xbox owners kind of want to know, what's up with it, or is it worth upgrading? Is it worth switching over to that? So I know there's probably people out there that will do that, and so this is definitely a good chance to kind of offer that. I'm the type of person, I'm going to tell it how it is in terms of what I feel about it and how much use I've got out of it and things like that. It hasn't been terribly much use for me personally, but I still think that it is something that is worthwhile if you're a type of person that wants to go all out and you're a console gamer and you've got a really good TV and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be something that everybody can kind of agree on. So here we go, man. This is going to be a fun review. I think we all kind of remember what it was like when a new upgraded console came out. They'd have the commercial and it would be awesome, and make us feel like our old consoles were pieces of crap.
Krusty the Clown is brought to you by the new Game Station 256. It's slightly faster to the max.
256? Oh, and I'm stuck with this useless 252.
Now, if you have enough of a good TV, like I do, and you have stuff with VRR and, it can support 120 frames and all that stuff, then yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. If you already own something and you're maybe looking to trade up, you could usually trade those things into GameStop and get a couple or maybe even a few $100s off towards it, because I know that the Pro is kind of expensive right now. Overall, what you're looking at is some footage that I captured off of it is Spider-Man 2, and, overall, the reflections and all that kind of stuff look really good. I think the character models, I'm not sure if the population has denser crowds or not, but it kind of seems that way to me anyway. And it is a nice game to look at, and I think that's something that the platform does extremely well, is that it kind of showcases these pretty good graphics, and again, that's what it's all about. If you're a real graphics type person on a console, then you probably won't find better than what this has to offer, and I think that's really kind of a testament to what Sony was able to achieve with some of their stuff. Now, this is kind of a beta test, which I assume will be for the PlayStation 6, with the pssr and stuff. They're kind of getting a hold of it and testing it out now, and I find out that it works pretty well. I think some games definitely are more noticeable than others when you play it. A lot of the time, some of the games are just, honestly, unless you're unless at them side by side, you're not going to be able to tell. You're not going to really regret it. But if you're looking for kind of the best of the best when it comes to the PlayStation 5, then yeah, I would say you could go with the Pro or whatever, because that's going to be your best bet. I think the games look great overall. Sometimes, obviously, like I said, they look good, and they look good on Xbox, they look good on the base PlayStation 5, so it really doesn't matter. But if you are someone with a good enough TV and you enjoy kind of having the best of the console stuff, then I would suggest it highly for it. We're going to get into it, check out some more games as well, so I can showcase what it is. I know YouTube kind of does a bad job, though, because they usually really kind of compresses stuff, so I'm going to try to leave this as uncompressed as possible. So obviously there's updates to games like Spider-Man 2, and of course this is God of War Ragnarok, which was already a good looking game, and I think the thing that happens is it's even better looking with the PlayStation 5 Pro. The little things I think matter most, when it comes down to kind of what they're doing with the games and stuff like that. So I kind of point out that and again, you can see and I'm hoping not that compression doesn't really lock it down, but they really did a good job with kind of improving this. You could tell that there is some impressive stuff here, that they've been able to kind of enhance and things, and so that's what I'm kind of talking about. It really looks insane. I think screenshots in the video doesn't really do it justice. You have to kind of see it for yourself. But this is one of the ones that really kind of goes all out. It has a pro mode, which looks pretty much like a native 4K 60 experience. It looks amazing. The fidelity mode, it looks like the fidelity mode at 30 frames on their base PS5. So yeah, there's also a high frame rate option here at 120 that feels really nice. nice, and there's a lot of like kind of options and stuff like that what they've kind of done. It's a really good game in terms of kind of what they offer and what they're going to be able to kind of do with the graphics and the performance and things. And I think that's what the Pro is all about. Like, you're going to maybe not right away, because I think developers are still kind of getting the hang of it, and I know that sounds like I'm maybe damage controlling it or whatever. I have no reason to, but I just think that honestly they're still getting the hang of it. And since there's so many different platforms to kind of dev for now, it's like, if you're a developer, think about this. You're hitting the PC, so you're basically kind of making sure that like everything can run it, from a potato to a supercomputer. You're deving maybe even for the Xbox One and PS4 still. You're doing maybe the Switch 2. You're doing Xbox Series S and X, PS5, PS5 Pro. There's a lot to kind of take in there, and so the games look absolutely insane. And like I said, the video doesn't do it justice. Like, not every game is like that, though. Sometimes you'll play a game and there won't be as noticeable of a difference. And I'm the type of person where, like, if you had a screenshot of all three, maybe running on all three modes, or maybe a screenshot between this and the base one, I wouldn't be able to probably pick it out for the most part, because I think that overall, like, we are getting a little bit diminishing returns on our graphics, because everything's HD and looks good. It's like we're kind of losing some of what we had there. But yeah, it looks incredible in my opinion, and it's probably one of the better ones to kind of enjoy and see what they're able to offer. And listen, I'm a big God of War fan anyway, so seeing that the game was that much more improved just makes it all the more worthwhile in my opinion, to be able to go out and kind of enjoy it and just say, hey, you know what, they did a good job with this, and that's, I think, the main thing. The bad part is, in my opinion, is that not every game supports it. I don't know if every new game, because I had usually just been playing multiplats on Xbox, but that's slowly starting to change. But I think most new games have to support the Pro right out of the gate, which is a good thing. Like I said, the bad thing is sometimes it's not as good a running of a situation as you'd had hoped, with some of this stuff. But overall, as you can see, looks absolutely fantastic, and it just honestly runs that much better too. So I think that's the important thing, is the ability to have these games run just amazingly well. So I thought it would be cool to kind of go back and capture some of the games. And unfortunately, I don't have anything from the base version to really compare it to, but trust me when I say it's kind of a treat to the eyes to get in there and look at. So like I said, if you're somebody that has a really good TV and you're a console gamer and you're just like, hey, I would love to get like the best of the best and have the best version of the console game on there or whatever, I think that you can't really go wrong with this. That's the main point that I would kind of be the main sticking point for you, is that, hey, yeah, games look better, but not all games. I'm just being honest with it. It doesn't necessarily mean everything will be that much better or whatever, but it does mean that overall the games that I've seen, a lot of them look more crisp, and certainly some of them feel better, and I think that's worthwhile picking up for as well. So you're going to be seeing some of that performance enhancements, in addition to some of the sharper images and things like that. So hopefully that comes through a little bit noticeable. It looked pretty good on my end when I was recording it, so I'm just kind of hoping that it kind of looks good on your end as well. But if you're an Xbox gamer, you're going to see some stuff that looks absolutely amazing, and I think that's something that all of us can kind of enjoy. Kind of switching up to another game like Gran Turismo 7, the cool thing is the enhancements that you get from the game as well, which I think is really cool. And they've done a really good job with kind of offering some substantial enhancements here, in terms of what you're able to kind of use. So it's really kind of taking advantage of it. It's got like the pssr, which is really cool. It's like, if you don't know what that is, it's like an AI powered image upscaler. So it's one of the big marquee features of the PS5 Pros as well. So basically it renders a game which has lower resolution internally, and it makes it look like it has higher frame rates and higher resolution when it actually kind of shows it. So yeah, that's really cool. The way that they kind of handle that. There's also like lots of examples of being able to kind of look at this and seeing that you can actually race with better like ray tracing in the game and things like that. Sometimes it's less obvious, like I said earlier, but overall, like when you look at this game, you can see like some of the shadows and the reflections and some of the tracing that's available. And I'm a type of person that thinks ray tracing is a little bit overrated, but it's kind of cool, especially especially like in a racing game or whatever, to see, the difference that they've been able to kind of make there. So they've taken really good advantage of it, and overall, I think that there's a good amount of games that take advantage of it now. Maybe at first there wasn't, but I think by now, yeah, definitely a lot of cool things have come out for it, and it just makes sense. So if you're, like I said, I highly recommend it if you're someone, maybe you bought an Xbox Series X to have the best of the best or whatever. You kind of have that here on the PlayStation side. So if you're into that, hey, you're going to pay a premium for it, but it's still, I think, worthwhile, and these games look tremendous. So I give it a thumbs up, or a 9 out of 10, whatever you want to say. But anyway, man, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.